Potatoes. You all know I love growing in these Oakland Gardens 30-litre containers for my potatoes, but they do have some drawbacks, and one of those drawbacks is the fact that the foliage just flops all over everywhere, and they because they're much higher than they would be if they were in the ground, this foliage tends to get battered by the winds. Now last year I created a trellis system from some cow wire, some cattle fencing and some stakes in the ground that supported this top growth as a whole, and that worked really well, but even that had some drawbacks, and I want to show you what that is. So the first of those drawbacks was that when the wind pushed those homes against the cattle grid, well, that worked really well and it held it all together as one unit. However, the very small surface area of the wire sometimes bit in and created a pinch area, and the homes were able to be blown over and flattened. So that was the main issue. The other thing as well was that it wasn't able to stay straight. If you notice from the wire, it sort of bowed and sort of bellied everywhere, and that made it hard for getting containers underneath, and also I don't think I put them high enough either. So with that in mind, I then went and designed a new system in a new area of the garden, and that is using like a trellis, and it's made from timber, and I literally just created this with some stair spindles stuck in the ground and some 2x1 across the top of it, and it's a really good system. I'm going to take you and show you that right now. So as you can see from this timber trellis here, I have a lot of room between the bucket. We're talking a good 18 inches. The potatoes are growing through, and it's a nice big area in which this can come through. It's not just that 4-inch square, but it's still held together as one unit. The winds have howled across here, as you can see from the potatoes that haven't been put into one of these. I left a small row of potatoes out alongside of one of my sheds, and they are supported by the shed and they're shielded by the shed. So you can imagine what these would be like if they were out in the open like these are. They'd be smashed to pieces. They're already leaning all over the place, whereas here you can see the top growth has come right through and is doing really well. On this note, if you see any flowers when you're working around your potatoes, don't be afraid to pull them off, because they are using energy out of your containers that should be going into your potatoes. These are requiring a watering. As you can see, my fingers come out relatively clean. There is a bit of moisture in it, but not a lot, so they need watering. And I'm noticing that with some of the lower leaves, they're starting to droop. So when you notice a couple of the lower leaves starting to droop, that's an indication it's time to check whether or not you need to water. But the top growth is all good up here. And the great thing about this as well, what this is doing is it's shading the containers below. It's keeping everything upright. So instead of the sun beating down on the top of the containers, it's actually shielding them. It keeps it all compact. So I can even walk up the center of these ones. Although they are, close together, I'm able to get in between them, and I can work, pull off flower heads or anything else that I'm doing at the time. Excuse my birds over there, they're making a bit of a racket. But that's the beauty about this system. Now, I want to show you here. As you've seen, we've had a lot of winds. There is no damage to this home here at all. And it's because we have such a substantial timber. It's not pushing against a single piece of wire. It's pushing against a good 1 inch of timber, and the top is nice and flat as well. So it supports the foliage as it sits on it. As you can see what's happening here. The leaves are coming up over the top and they're sitting on it. So this new system is 100% better than the older system. Yes, timbers are expensive. However, I have heard indications that the prices of timber is going to be falling very soon. So where the camera is here now, I've got another single row to put in here. I've got 2 double rows here, which totals 68 containers, and I've got another single row to put in here, which were going to be for the ones I left across the shed. But I left them there to show you what happens when the wind bashes the homes about, and what can happen if you don't support them when you're growing in these containers. So if you want to grow in containers, I really advise it. It is one of the best methods for growing potatoes. You get a fantastic harvest in a small space, really, when you consider it. There's no digging involved. You get compost at the end of it that you can put out into your garden or reuse. And the great thing about it is I'm not hurting my back with this. When it comes time to harvest, I cut the hulls off, take all that to the compost, pull the bucket out, empty it into a wheelbarrow. It can't be any simpler than that. As for watering, I'm using a hose at the moment on a little pump that I will literally run around and water all these because it's quite simple. What I will do next year, I didn't have time this year, but what I will do next year is put a drip irrigation system right across the top of this trellis work. There'll be a single pipe, and there'll be smaller, thinner pipes dropping down into each container, but they needed to be out earlier before I got to that. And with everything that's happened around the book and what have you over the last sort of few weeks, I haven't got around to even finishing this area. So that's just the way it is. So next year will be the drip irrigation put in. But as you can see, they're doing fantastic, and this new trellis is brilliant because it's pressure treated. It's something we haven't even got to worry about as far as the rain goes. Anyway, folks, if you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up on the way out. And if you want to learn more about growing potatoes, then this is the next video that you should watch. I'm Tony O'Neill. This is Simplified Gardening, where I show you how to garden in a simpler way. Remember, folks, you reap what you sow, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.